to the, that's loud tonight. Welcome to the August 19th meeting of FARL's Board of Trustees. I'm now calling this meeting to order. Tonight's online attendee is Mary. Mary's online. Sure. Yeah, we'll give him just a second to get situated. We're just taking a moment, those of you online, getting a few extra chairs and getting everyone situated here in the room. All right, we'll get started. We'll begin with the agenda approval. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? Move this to a roll call vote, please.
Marie Coffey. Aye. Mary Ann Duncan Cole.
Aye.
Olga Hodges.
Aye.
Penny Love Hensley.
Aye.
Christy Morgan.
Aye. Motion passes. I do have, sorry. Yeah. Oh, I forgot she's online. I'm so sorry. Mary, yes, we do.
Mary Williams.
Aye. It's all good.
Thank you. Sorry, Mary. I have one announcement tonight. Vikram has resigned his seat on the board effective immediately. We would like to thank him for his service to the community. Watch out for the City of Vancouver website if you're interested in this position. Applicants must reside within the City of Vancouver. We'll move on to our public comment portion of the meeting. The guidelines are as follows. You'll have 2 minutes to speak. We will take 1 hour to hear comments. Please no clapping or noise between speakers. No inappropriate language. Please be respectful of one another. Direct your comments up here to the board. No playing recordings or videos for us, and state your name into the microphone before you begin.
Catherine Gardner.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Gardner, pronoun she, her, and I'm a resident of Vancouver. Among the many terrifying and hateful aspects of the now infamous Project 2025, which is the Conservative playbook should they win the presidency in November, libraries and intellectual freedoms are in the crosshairs. Kevin Roberts, president of the Heritage Foundation, the organization behind Project 2025, wants to define pornography more broadly than it currently is. For example, he has suggested that any attempt to explain or teach about trans people is worthy of punishment. To quote Project 2025, pornography should be outlawed. The people who produce and distribute it should be imprisoned. Educators and public librarians who purvey it should be classed as registered sex offenders, end quote. As has been stated before at these meetings, the definition of what is inappropriate varies from person to person. It is subjective, and it is up to the individuals to decide what is and is not appropriate for them and their families. Project 2025 aims to do away with intellectual freedom and choice. It puts institutions such as the Fort Vancouver Regional Library and its dedicated employees at real risk. So, along with eliminating Head Start, cutting school lunch programs, rolling back regulations to fight climate change, cuts to Medicaid, revoking a woman's right to reproductive health care, reduction in veteran services and benefits, Project 2025 also wants to take away your family's right to choose what media you consume and seeks to punish librarians for doing their job. How weird.
June Jacobs. June Jacobs. June. Okay. We'll move on then to Emily Losness. Emily Losness. Jennifer Pauletto.
Good evening, and thank you for the time and opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Jennifer Pauletto, and I'm the Executive Director at Washington Gorge Action Programs. My apologies for not being there in person tonight. It was my intent, but unfortunately, life got in the way. Washington Gorge Action Programs supports the Goldendale Library and all that it does for every community member in Goldendale and throughout the service region. Within WAGAP service region, that includes the White Salmon and Stevenson branches of FVRL libraries as well. Washington Gorge Action Programs is the community action agency for Klickitat's community counties. We're a multi-purpose human service organization dedicated to helping individuals, families, and communities address their basic human needs. Each year, thousands of people turn to WAGAP for short-term assistance and long-term solutions to help them take control of their lives and their futures. Programs offering nutrition assistance, energy, housing, domestic violence prevention, care coordination, home energy assistance, and more assure that WAGAP keeps its promise to community action. Our mission and vision very much align with the mission and vision of FVRL libraries. Today, as you are in Goldendale, I specifically appreciate the services provided by the Goldendale branch for our underserved and low-income community members. We work together to support individuals and families seek resources, connection through technology, knowledge, and community engagement. The library staff are supportive and help folks get their needs met by signing up for low-cost self-services, supporting and learning a new skill, and even just providing a welcoming smile to someone who's having a bad day or struggling in what's going on in their life. This branch's support of community initiatives like the Coalition Preventing Abuse in Klickitat County, or CPAC, and the Goldendale Chamber of Commerce, just to name two, add enrichment to Goldendale and its community members. I appreciate the time tonight to be able.
That's time. Next up is going to be Isaac Collier Goldendale. And after Isaac, my apologies, that was Jude Jacobs. So Isaac.
Good evening. I'd like to share data on the Goldendale community's engagement with the LGBTQ materials added to our library over the past 2 years. First, I'd like to preface that I did not begin taking this action with the intent of what it would become. And back in 2022, I noticed several pro-LGBTQ children's books on display in the library and some with explicit content. Since I had my younger siblings with me, I checked them out in an attempt to keep the books away from them. And due to the library's automatic renewal policy, I was actually able to keep them for months until one was eventually placed on hold. Curious about the demand for such books, I decided to conduct a series of tests. Earlier this year, I checked out 12 pro-LGBTQ books, mostly from the juvenile section. Over 8 months, Only one was requested by another patron. It should be noted that the book was not a juvenile book. I then returned all 12 books to a different library, and from there most were sent further west where this content seems to be more popular. I've conducted around 5 of these tests over the last 2 years in Goldendale, and I have found that about 90% of these books were never requested by anyone near the Goldendale Library within 4 to 8 months. And only 13% actually returned to Goldendale after being returned elsewhere. This data suggests that the Goldendale community has little interest in LGBTQ-related materials. There is minimal demand for this content here, and when it is removed, few people notice. The library's choices, not community interest or input, are what currently influence the availability of these books here. I hope that the board will consider this data and make changes to further reflect the preferences of the community which it serves. Thank you for your time.
Jude Jacobs. Okay. Next up will be Marcia Anderson, followed by Sandra Choate and Brent Boykin Hicks. Marcia.
Good evening, board. My name is Marcia Anderson. I've been in Goldendale for almost 10 years. The Goldendale Library is the heart of this community. A community by its very nature contains a multitude of different members. A library serves that community. It is a library for everyone, not servicing just a narrow group or two. Services like guiding me and my husband, both military vets, to the community's veteran liaison, where we went to file a service-related claim. I personally could not live here in Goldendale without the books, DVDs, books on CDs, magazines, and the camaraderie of the library book club, which this library provides so splendidly. Thank you.
Next is Sandra Choate, followed by Brent Boykin Hicks and Quill Onstead.
I'm Sandra Choate. I'm an 18-year resident of Goldendale and a local business owner. And I just want to say thank you to the board. I appreciate the library. I appreciate what you all do here. And I think that public libraries are vital. And I think that public libraries, by very definition of the phrase, are public and should remain public. And that we need full access, no censorship, no banned books, and leave the onus of determining what is right or not right for our children to read up to the individual parents and not the library or the constituency of Goldendale. And I just want to urge you to continue to resist any demands and not be beholden to small special interest groups that might want us to diminish our public library in any way. Thank you.
Brent Boykin Hicks, followed by Quill Onstead and Sandra Wu.
Good evening. My name is Brent Boykin Hicks, and I am here in total support of the library, their staff, and our librarian. I am one who, we came to Goldendale after having purchased land 30 years ago and moved here about 6 years ago from Portland. And it was quite a culture shock. And one of the things that really gave us hope that we could actually live here, it was the library and is the library. The fact that we have access to so much information, a lovely group of people here that are very supportive. One of the things that hasn't been mentioned only briefly is that the library also serves as the center of not counseling, but social connection for many of the people that live in the community. And I've seen it happen where people come in who are in trouble, and the librarians will walk them through and help them. I also agree in that intellectual freedom is vital to this community, and then no culture, no religious group should be declaring what is available to the general population, and while I have concerns about the children, perhaps, that is a parental responsibility, not the responsibility of the library or the school. And so those who have had problems with that need to look at their own relationship with their children and take responsibility for training them. Because we are in a pluralistic society, and no one group can declare what is right for the rest of us. Thank you.
Will Onstead, be followed by Sarah Wu and Gary Wilson.
Hi, my name is Cole Onstead, and my pronouns are they, them. I'm here to speak in support of Drag Queen Story Hour as a genderqueer member of the library community. I saw a tweet online that read, as a librarian and former child, everyone should be less concerned with what kids are reading and more concerned with being someone the children in your life can talk to if they stumble upon something that scares or confuses them. If a kid doesn't feel safe coming to you about everything, they're not going to come to you about anything. Not anything really important, that is. But that's the point, isn't it? It's not necessarily about keeping kids safe. It's about control. It's about keeping kids ignorant and afraid. Purity culture is the idea that if you are exposed to quote unquote bad things, then you have been irreparably tarnished. If you're afraid of being contaminated mentally, of being accidentally ruined, of seeing something bad and becoming something bad yourself, you become easier to control. If you understand that reading about something, that doesn't mean you agree with it, and that words and ideas may be scary, but that simply knowing an idea exists or reading about a thing does not make you that thing. You become much harder to control. For people with a purity-based worldview, Drag Queen Story Hour must be terrifying, but their fear should not dictate what the library does or does not provide to the community. Drag Queen Story Hour is a vital program that teaches kids about gender identity in an age-appropriate manner. Parents who do not approve of Drag Queen Story Hour do not have to bring their children to any Drag Queen Story Hour programs. Please allow the staff of FERL libraries to present Drag Queen Story Hour and have the district live up to the ideals espoused in the FERL library's equity statement. Not everyone has the time to make the drive out to every board meeting, but you still show up month after month. Thank you for your service to the community, whether it be online or in person.
Sarah Wu.
Hello, my name is Sarah Wu. I've lived outside of Goldendale for 25 years now. The library has been very important to me. I particularly have enjoyed many of the programs. I remember especially the mushroom programs we had. And okay, the psychedelics might have been mentioned, but that wasn't the whole point. And we all learned a whole lot. But what I think it really showed me, that here was a safe place for us to meet and show each other we are all just folks. I want people to see me as just folks, and I want to see other people that way without any divisive items. So I really encourage you with these programs where the whole community comes together from very many different directions. Thank you very much for your support.
Gary Wilson.
Once again, thank you, library board members, for your service. And please continue to err on the side of caution when it comes to protecting your most vulnerable patrons, the children. And thank you again for your service.
Was that the end of the people who signed up? We still have time in the hour. Is there anyone online or in person that would still like to make a comment?
I would.
Could you please state your name?
I'm Jude. Sorry, I was late.
Okay, and so this is Jude Jacobs.
Hi, my name is Jude. My pronouns are he, him, and I just wanted to reach out today to talk about how much I appreciate the policies currently in place as far as equity and diversity, and the way that the library shows up for members of the community, such as attending Pride events. I also just appreciate the variety of books available. And I hope that you guys continue to provide books that support a variety of people. And I love Libby. So please continue to support things like the Libby app and board games because they're the best. Thank you.
Was there anyone else online? Anyone in person? Thank you all. I'm closing. Oh, just in the nick of time. All right, come on up and just say your first and last name for us.
So anyway, I'm Rachel Lehner. I guess I wrote this, and I'm just going to read it because I'm too scared to do anything else. So I had just wanted to write you all a thank you note. And I was prepared to avoid the library for the month of June, but my friend went and said it was safe for our kids this year. Thank you for not glorifying sex in front of my children. I'm very much the type that I'm happy to let others do what they want, and I'll do what I want. But when it crosses over into my path, I think it's unfair and will speak up. In June, we like to focus on our beautiful state with hikes, camping, fishing, and all the herbs and flowers that grow around here. This year feels like we can go get books on our interests and not have to look at the gaudy displays in the name of sex and confusion. This is a wonderful change, especially to our small homeschooling community that desires to have a good relationship with our greatest resource, the library. Many times the displays don't really represent the interests of our unique town, so I'm happy to see them go, and thanks again.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead, come on up and say your first and last name.
Hi, my name is Jane Watson. Can I just say how I feel about stuff going on? Okay. Well, I have 4 kids. My oldest is 4, and my youngest is 4 months. And one thing I was concerned about, my husband came into the library a couple months ago and saw a book called M is for Monster. And it was about basically demons being friends with children and like Satan being friends with kids. And he came home and said, yeah, this is too weird. Why is this in a little kid's cardboard book? I feel very uncomfortable with it. It's scary because I don't think little kids should be exposed to Satan. And another thing that we saw is like gay history for kids, right at the kid level, and the children in our library. And I have friends that are gay, friends that are transgender. I just don't think it should be pushed on little kids. And I'm not against gay people at all. I just don't know why we should teach little kids about having sex. And I think it should be my job when they're old enough, not when they're 2 years old. And the other thing, I really love how you guys have been putting more cultural stuff in the library, like cultural music, Spanish books. I love that. And I think Goldendale, I don't know, can use more of that, celebrating our cultures.
That's time. Thank
Okay,
you so much. Would anyone else like to go? Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Judy Grover, and I'm not a speaker. I just wanted to thank our particular library and the staff and our perfect librarian who is so full of energy. And we have so many different kinds of activities and things for everybody. And this is a wonderful place to come. It's very comfortable and people like each other. And we just want to say thank you for that.
Was there anyone else online while we've been going? Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, come on up.
Hi, my name is Daphne Todd, and I'm a homeschooling mom. I've been homeschooling for 20 years. My oldest is 24, and my youngest is 7. I used to use the library a lot, and I've only been in Goldendale for 3 years. I came from the West Side, Anacortes, Washington, and I know other moms in that area at different libraries all had the same experience that I had. So my experience was, and this is again not Goldendale's library, but I'll get to that. My experience was that I saw a change over the first 10 years of my homeschooling. That in the beginning, there was a lot of classical literature that lifted the soul, that really formed children, their moral character, their virtue, they're willing to serve their community and just do things that were human, you know, that were kind and thoughtful. And over time, it was being replaced by darker agendas. When I mean darker agendas, things that depress people, that bring them down, that make kids depressed and not feel good about themselves, that not want to serve others. And I had enough. I really had enough, and I stopped using the library. And other homeschooling moms, we got together and we started grabbing up all the books that the libraries were throwing to the curbside for like 50 cents, and they were great books. So we grabbed them up and we started sharing, book sharing. And so the library became out of my life. And then I moved here to Goldendale, and I walked in and I saw the same thing. And I thought, I'm done. I'm just done. You know, I'm going to, you know, I meet other moms, and just my kids were older. So I had a huge library at home now, because as a homeschooler, that's what you do. You collect good books that will enrich your child. So long story short, the libraries have lost my trust. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of moms that are in my position. And we call ourselves conservative people. We call ourselves moral seekers, virtue builders. We want to encourage kids that give and feel good about themselves. So
that's time.
Yeah.
Thank you
for listening.
Would anyone else like to come up? No one online. Okay. I'm closing public comment. Thank you all so much. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented? So moved. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Yeah, move this to a vote, please.
Marie Coffey.
Aye.
Mary Ann Duncan Cole.
Aye.
Olga Hodges.
Aye.
Penny Love Hensley.
Aye.
Christy Morgan.
Aye.
Mary Williams.
Aye.
Motion to approve the August 19th, 24 consent agenda is approved. We'll move on to the report section of our meeting. First up will be Alicia with FERL organizational reports.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alicia Gamori. I'm the Deputy Director. This is my second board meeting. I just started on July 1st. So in this last 6 weeks, I've had the opportunity to go visit all of our physical spaces and meet with all of our branch managers and meet with a lot of our frontline staff. So I've been having a great time just going to everywhere, just seeing what the communities are like and just visiting, seeing what great things our librarians and our frontline staff are doing. And I'll just be continuing that. I have plans to visit each branch once a month. So really want to get involved with knowing the ebb and flow of all of our locations. So it's really exciting. So just a couple of highlights. Our Cascade Park Library is hosting our Yes Interns again this summer. And that's a program designed to help with employment outcomes by providing work readiness, training, career-related learning experiences, and internships. And it's a really great opportunity for our youth. Our Stevenson Library commented on the Washington Gorge Action Programs. They provided cooling kits during the extreme heat event, and they were distributed at the library and were really helpful. patrons really appreciated that. Our Vancouver Community Library has been doing the summer lunch program, and that's been a big success. And they were able to provide over 900 lunches to kids and teens in the month of July. And that was in partnership with Share Vancouver. And that really is just to help combat food insecurity while our school-age kids are at home during the summer and not at school. So that's a really great partnership. And then our Washougal Library, the Clark County Poet Laureate, Susan Dingle, hosted a zine making workshop. And that was a really successful program, and patrons were really excited and happy to participate in that. So those are just some of the really great things that are happening in all of our communities. So thank you for your time.
Any questions?
Not quite done, sorry.
Oh, go for it. I should have put my name on there too. Before Alicia leaves, Dave Josephson, our Director of Fleets and Facilities, who was out at the public comment table, and Alicia, I had the honor of going to a program last Thursday put on by the Vancouver Business Journal, where we have been awarded 2 awards, and I have them up here if you want to look at them. We received the #1 top project in government for our Woodland Community Library that will open in October. And we also received the Community Catalyst Award for that building. So we were nominated for those awards, and I was up at the Yale Valley Board meeting that day. So thank you to Alicia and Dave for filling in. We also have a very large banner recognizing that award that we'll have at the opening as well. So the building's not even open, and it's getting awards. So we're very excited about that, and still seem to be on track for an October opening. Not quite ready to announce a date because we're still waiting for Comcast to turn our internet on, which is important at the library. Another thing I'd like to highlight on page 22 of your packet is our current library card holder rate. We serve over 550,000 people across 4,200 square miles, and we have a 28% cardholder rate. In this community, it's much higher. It's in the 50 percentile, and that's what we want to see everywhere. So Goldendale sets the mark for that. And we would like to take this month of September, which is National Library Card Month, and you'll see a lot of attention on getting your card. It is the most important card in your wallet or on your keychain, and it does give you access to just about anything that you could imagine and more. I know that we hear lots of public comments, and I appreciate them all. As a librarian, I've always said there you can find something in our libraries that will offend everyone. And that means we're doing our job from an intellectual freedom standpoint, but we also take great pride in listening to our communities and really honing in on what our communities want and need through our programs and services. While I'm talking about Library Card Sign-Up Month, we have a goal with the focus on that to increase our cardholder rate by 3% by December 31st. So we will be paying particular attention to areas that aren't at 28%, because when we have areas at 50%, we also have areas at much smaller percents. And so we're going to be really trying to reconnect with communities that aren't using the library and get that cardholder rate up. The other thing on this same page that I just wanted to point out is under the Wi-Fi access. It's on the lower right-hand side. You'll notice that there's been a sharp decrease in the Wi-Fi use, but actually that's not true. What has happened is we this year have reset the way in which we count Wi-Fi access to be more accurate. So when you come into the library and use your own device to get onto the internet, when you actually get on the internet and use it, we count that.
But the next time you come in, and it used to be you'd come in, it would automatically count you whether you use the internet or not. We don't do that because you might come in just to grab your hold and walk out the door and never use the Wi-Fi. So this is a more accurate tracking in 2024 of what is really happening. So I just wanted you to be aware of that in case you were wondering why the number was going down like I was. On page 25, another thing to just keep pointing out here is really the growth in our digital checkouts continues to be strong and helps us to maintain or increase our circulation rate. It is 52%, I'm sorry, 56.4% in July of 2024, 56.4% of the first-time checkouts are digital. So that means over 50% of the things we're checking out are in digital format. It's still, we're sitting in a community that knows this as much as anyone, that it's still so important to have all the physical offerings as well. And that makes it really challenging to a library system like ours because we want to offer formats that people want and need. And so we pay close attention to both the physical and digital checkouts and within our limited budget of offering what we do. But I think it's just good to keep paying attention to that as well. That is all I have today.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Could you compare the digital versus the physical cost in a way that
in a way that makes sense?
Like me, Ivanhoe, Ivanhoe digitally, physical.
Yeah, probably what we should do, we haven't done a collection overview report for you in a while, so we should probably do that at an upcoming meeting. I can roughly tell you that physical content is still much more cost effective than digital content. Part of that is because the library has to license agreements. So for physical content, we buy an item, we buy a book, it goes into our collection and it stays there until it's no longer either usable anymore because the dog chewed on it or the pages got ripped out or the content is no longer viable because it's a physician's desk reference from 1986. I don't want anyone looking at that for their medical condition. So there's lots of reasons why things need updated. On the digital side, I mean, the great part about digital is it's cost effective from a staffing standpoint because we buy the item. It's there for people to use and we don't touch it. We don't check it in and check it out and process it and put it in our truck and travel around. But on the other side, it's very expensive. So like if you go to a commercial supplier that I won't name and you download an ebook, you might pay $9.99, where we might pay $79.99 for that same content. I'm making those numbers up, but we can do a full overview. And the reason is because we license those and the publishers consider things like, hey, with a physical copy, you probably checked it out an average of 26 times in its lifetime before you had to either replace it or get rid of it. So 26 times the cost, that sounds pretty good. The problem is we don't own that content, so we have to keep licensing it. So the library community has long been focused on this issue and advocating for better pricing, for also the fact that we can't actually buy everything on the market. It's, again, up to publishers. And beyond that, we also have databases that we offer, and those really replaced reference materials that we used to have in libraries. We don't buy physical reference materials because they're very expensive and they get replaced too frequently. So there's a lot of consideration that goes into balancing collections, ensuring there is something for everyone in our libraries. But the digital piece and the cost is an ongoing concern for us.
Do you anticipate that 25 years from now, our collections may have issues because of this?
So I think everyone should write this down that Jennifer said. And in 25 years, if God willing, I'm still on this earth, tell me if I was right. We'll still have print collections.
I'm curious how this is being considered in communities like ours with limited internet access. And you know, we had hotspots for a while, and that program didn't work out with the lack of returns or whatever it was. Just curious how that's being balanced, or if you're seeing the same use here as you would in, you know, high Wi-Fi areas.
Well, with electronic use, we don't necessarily have that broken down by location. It's more of for the whole system, this is the use. But for the physical collection, we do have a program that's called Collection HQ, and it's our collection analytics tool where we're looking at the use of the collection, of what checks out, what doesn't check out, where does it move around. We have a floating collection for our physical items, which means this. Today, I'm here at Goldendale. I'm going to go check out an item, but I'm not coming back here anytime soon. And I know the library needs the book back, so I'm going to return it in Vancouver. Vancouver is going to take and put that item, check it in, and put it on its shelf unless it's put on hold by somebody else. The thought with a floating collection is the collection is where people want it. We also have a whole matrix and method of distribution of collections. So who gets what new items? I always say if we're buying the right things physically, they're not going on anybody's shelf. They're immediately going out to the patron on hold. That's how we know that that's successful. So I know that's probably not the broadest answer, but that is a bit of it. But I think it's a good time to think about when we do more of a collection overview for you soon.
Any other questions? You guys will let me know if something comes through from Mary, right? Okay. Thank you. Next up is FARL Foundation update with Rick.
Hi, I'm Rick Smithard with the Fort Vancouver Regional Library Foundation, and I'm pleased to be able to give you a report on some of the things we're doing. Probably the most important is that we're getting close to the end on the project related to the Woodland Library. We were able to turn over to the district about $2 million in the last 3 months for that project. I think we have about $1 million more that we're getting ready to give to the district. So that's all good news. Also, I wanted to share the fact that we do a lot of programs with all of the Friends groups, so it's good to be here and recognize the Friends of Goldendale. We appreciate everything they do. We oversee that. We're currently doing an audit of all the Friends groups. We do that every year. As a result, we've had 23 years of positive audits of the Friends groups and the foundation, so we're pleased with that. We did recently get recognized as a 4-star charity navigator nonprofit, so we're pleased with that as well. And we just have a lot of different things going on. I do want to mention that the Friends of Goldendale, we have both a Friends account for the Friends of Goldendale. It's an investment account for long-term projects. We also have a Goldendale Library account, which is money given to the foundation for the benefit of Goldendale Library. And if you looked at July 31 of 2023 to July 31 of 2024, those accounts earned 12%. So we're very pleased with that as well. And it's just been an interesting time. I've been with the organization for 23 years. And so I've just recently announced that I'm going to be retiring. And so I just want to let you know that I appreciate having had the opportunity to spend 23 years coming to trustee meetings, foundation board meetings, friends meetings, different events. There's nothing that I value more than when people give their time to serve and also support the donors very much who invest in the programs and services of the library. So I'm leaving behind a fantastic team that I work with. of 3 people who've been working for the foundation for more than 10 years. Also leaving behind a very solid foundation board of directors. And so they're going to do a fantastic job. And I think everything is a good position. And I also appreciate the opportunity I've been able to have the opportunity to work with Jennifer Giltrop for the last 9 months. She's a fantastic addition to the FBRL program and very easy to work with and wonderful benefit to the foundation that we're able to work with her. I also want to recognize a couple of foundation people who are in the audience here. Debbie Jenner-John, who's the foundation board chair, and Judy Musa. And I don't know if Debbie wanted to come up and say just a few words on behalf of the foundation, if that would be okay. This one. This one.
You're getting out of that seat really fast.
If I had my way about it, he would not retire, guys. Just telling you. And he's going to do it before the ANI. So what that means, the ANI. Oh, yes, you're new. And I hate it when people do that, you know, where they just say, ooh. Okay. The ANI, Authors and Illustrators fundraiser. It's a dinner, an auction. It's a lot of fun. From 5:30 in the evening to 9:30 at night down at the Hilton. And the author is Laura Dave. And that is the name, Laura Dave. I keep thinking it's her name and her husband's name together, but it's not. But anyway, tickets are $120, right? Mm-hmm. Or you can get a table for $1,200, and that seats 10. So you could bring 10 of your friends or 9 of your friends. Got to keep one for yourself. So, yeah, since he's leaving right before this happens, I really need a lot of help filling these tables. So, it's a great night. I highly recommend it. So if anybody needs tickets, Judy, how do they get tickets? Oh, okay. So you can, to purchase tickets, you can go to the website. There is a page there for the Authors and Illustrators Dinner. You can, if you have trouble with that, you can call the office, and it is 360-906-4700. And the women in the office will definitely help you, and they'll be glad to take your money. Believe me, I know they'll be glad to take your money. So, is there any questions on that? So, that was the next one. So we are going to be hiring a replacement for Rick, and I'm not sure how you replace 23 years, but we're looking. We're looking. I'm just mad that he's doing it before me. Okay. I'm older than him. But he definitely has earned the retirement. And if we have to, we will run it by the board for a while until we get the right person. We are not going to jump into something and fill a body in there that might work, might not work. We're going to do our due diligence. So since we only have, what, 5 weeks before his last day. And oh, by the way, 3 of them, he's going to be in Norway. So, but we're working on his job description, his, what we're looking for. And so there'll be more details. And Jennifer, I hope you bear with us. I really do want to say that Jennifer's been great to work with.
Thank you.
So nice.
I want to just say thank you, Rick, for all the time
So I will tell you, he wanted to just go out in the sunset and nobody say thank you, nobody say nothing. Sorry. I didn't blow it. I just didn't have the ability to get a cake here for you. But thank you all.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your years of service. Just your presentations and updates every month show your dedication and how much you've done for us. You're leaving really big shoes to fill, and enjoy your retirement. Thank you.
I do want to mention that the Friends in Goldendale are invited to put silent auction baskets into the Authors and Illustrators dinner. The money that are raised from those baskets gets sent back to the Friends of Goldendale. So I know you've done that in the past. So if you want to come up with something and contact the office, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
We'll move on to the Goldendale Community Library Report with Tara.
Yeah. If you have to sit up and go yeah.
Oh, I like the microphone. I don't have to talk too loud. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm actually a little nervous because I think this is as many people I've seen in the audience since I started. So bear with me. And of course, thank you, board, for coming. I know, except for Olga, it's kind of a long trek. So I will make this as quick as possible and as painless as possible. So please enjoy the pictures. Did I introduce myself? Tara McLeod, branch manager, Goldendale. Next slide. So first, I'd like to introduce the Gold Team. It's a wonderful group of proactive, creative, amazing people, and I'm really grateful to work with them. And our library would not be as great as it is without them. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we can't always be in the same room at the same time. So I tried to make it look like it. So that's my attempt. Yeah, thanks. Next slide. So a couple of years ago, I gave a pretty in-depth history of the Goldendale Library. And so here's just a snapshot. The public library was established thanks to the efforts of the Goldendale Women's Association. They originally took over the primary school and opened on Saturday afternoons. And it gained funding from the city of Goldendale and opened the Carnegie Building in 1915, and later joined FVRL in 1973. And this brought in an increase of resources, staff, and our first bookmobile. And of course, our services have expanded ever since. All right, so since last June, we brought back the Reptile Man, which is everybody's favorite. We also partnered with the White Salmon Library and hosted a program in Lyle Park. That would be is it a falcon, Ruth? Was it falcon? Okay, red-tailed hawk. So that's the top right one. And I am also a part of the Scavenger Hunt Society, which is a partnership with the city of Goldendale and Holcomb's Market. And they create fun, historical-themed scavenger hunts for community days. And so Heidi from the White Salmon Library brings her family to do it every year, and you can see them over on the far left. And this year we were also able to partner with the Goldendale Grange to host Takohachi, and after which attendees could actually try to play the drums. You can kind of see it in there. You see the outline of the octopus. It was really fun. Next slide. So for the past year, we have been operating with one open position. So adding new programs was a challenge, but thanks to the help of our volunteers in the homeschool community, we were able to create a homeschool hangout program this summer, and it was pretty well received. So those are the top left over there too. And just fun program pictures. Next slide. So some of the ongoing partnerships include a monthly team book group at the Goldendale High School Library and monthly community events with both WAGAP and CPAC. And we also hosted our first, to our knowledge, job fair in the library. And we partnered with the Goldendale High School Prevention Club during Trunk or Treat. And we brought the bookmobile just because it gets too cold. So, yeah. Next slide. Actually, can you go back one? So here's a little trivia. The Goldendale and Klickitat County in general actually has a higher percentage of veterans compared to Washington State. So in the middle picture was actually part of one of the displays that we partnered with the Goldendale Legion in honor of Veterans Day. Okay, thank you. So one of our newest partnerships that we've been building is with the Goldendale Middle School FFA group. And they were inspired by our story walks that we have in front of the library during the warmer months. And they wanted to do their own, but very agriculturally themed story walks. And they wanted to read them to the primary school. So the district actually lent them Charlie Needs a Cloak, which was in the primary school cafeteria for a month. And then the Friends of the Goldendale Library sponsored the last 3 books. And you can see in the biggest picture that they took a new talk or a creative way of doing a story walk where they went around with each panel and read to the kids instead of actually having the kids walk around. And I just thought that was a really creative way to be able to engage with younger kids. So next slide. So in March, we realized that we didn't have any comment cards out. So we put them by the front desk, and pretty much immediately we were overwhelmed with the number of positive comments that we received from patrons. And these are just a few of the snapshots. We really do hear it every day. It's just, it's nice to see it too. And so on the top left, you can see pictures of kids looking at the sun. They actually do have solar glasses on. For the solar eclipses of October of 23 and April of this year, I was able to get 5,000 solar eclipse glasses through StarNet for the whole district, not just for here. I mean, that would have been really, really cool. But we did actually have enough left over, and the primary school principal reached out to see if there were enough for the kids, and they were able to share. And so the highlighted one there is from Angie Hedges, the principal at the primary school, saying thank you. They were really excited about being able to do that. So yeah, next slide. And so this is just a snapshot of ongoing partners in the area, possibly from my media background. Next slide. And this is a map that shows how far our regular services reach based out of Goldendale. So you can see with the Klickitat County bookmobile, we cover about 1,500 square miles of service. Yeah, it's big. And our Klickitat County bookmobile makes regular visits to 12 of the communities in the school, 6 school districts, along with a number of outreach events throughout the year, including the parades, fairs and rodeos, and the back to school dash. So on the top right, you can see our new mascot. We made a jackalope, and we won 3rd place in the Community Days Parade last year. And during the Candy Cane Parade, we won 2nd. And so we really went all out, hoping for 2nd place in the Community Days Parade, and we didn't place. But we did have fun decorating it, and there's always next year. All right, next slide. And these are just more fun pictures of summer outreach events, as well as the spring and fall Saturday bookmobile and craft visits that we do. So, yeah. And so this has actually been a very big year for upgrades to the building and the grounds, including a new HVAC on one side of the building, updates to the front garden, and a very much needed repair of our reading deck. No more leaks. Yay. And we were also able to partner with some local organizations, including fire extinguisher training with our local fire department. And then we have a Narcan training with Klickitat Valley Health this September. And of course, it's Susan's 20th anniversary. So, yay. Next slide. Yes. All right. So when you think of the Friends of the Library, many people think of book sales, which they do hold here. But they also coordinate a week of baked goods during National Library Week for staff, which we very much appreciate. Almost too much, with the belts. And they are very well known for their annual ice cream social. This is one of the largest events hosted at the library. And its roots actually go back to the origin of the public library, where the Goldendale Women's Association held similar events as a means to say thanks to the community for the support of the library. And so the Friends actually revived the tradition after they formed in the 70s. And it wasn't said before, but this is actually the 50th anniversary of the Goldendale Friends. Yeah, so they've been great. And I think that's it. I just wanted to, oh, you got the new one. So this is actually one of our more beautiful pictures of just out. They're actually in the bookmobile. So this is what our drivers see on a regular basis, bugs and all. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
Okay. Well, thank you.
Next is Katrina with the financial statements.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. I was a little concerned since my video is not working this evening, so I apologize about that. I do have for you this evening June's financial statements. And before I start, I just want to remind you all of some timing. Last month, we did go through a budget amendment, and that will not be reflected in these June financials. You will see those next month as part of the July financials. With that, for the cash, you can see year-to-date revenue is $18.6 million, with year-to-date expenses being those two numbers combined at $17.2 million, for a year-to-date increase in cash of about $1.4 million. This is a decrease from last month of about $2.6 million in cash. As a reminder, that $236,000 that I added together with the $16 million for your expenditures year to date is from expenses that are being paid in 2024 that were incurred in 2023. Our operational reserves, we are expected to have a target between 60 and 90 days, and we are meeting that target. We're exceeding that target currently at being at approximately 120 days. Any thoughts or questions before I move on to revenues? Okay. Page 46 of 78 for our revenues. Overall, our operating revenues are on target, being at 57% for the year. The first section there is always our property taxes. These do represent 87% of the district's revenues each year. And as we know, the majority of these come in April and October. Our intergovernmental revenues, two sections down, these are also meeting our expectations, even though they're only at 30%, 30.43% for the year. This is based off of some budget adjustments and some known timing. Our charges for services are exceeding our expectations year to date, coming in at 65%. And then our miscellaneous category. There's a few things that I want to point out there, despite the fact that it is still meeting our expectations, being at close to 60%. One of the things I want to point out is the grant from the foundation for the Woodland Project. We have collected almost 74% of that through June, and we did collect the rest in July. In addition to that, we have some other library reimbursements other reimbursements coming in for the Woodland Library that we will see in third and fourth quarter coming out of that Library Friends Group reimbursement line. And then we have annual revenues that come in towards the third and fourth quarter, such as our E-rate revenues for $120,000 there. So we expect a lot to come in the next two quarters. Any thoughts or questions on revenues before I move to our expenditures? Okay. As with revenues, our operating expenditures are meeting or exceeding our expectations year to date. We would expect year to date to have about 50% of our expenditures, operating expenditures have passed, or about 8.3% per month. Our personnel is just under 50%, and this is influenced by vacancies as well as being offset by some payouts. Our supplies budget is only at 32.6%. We did have a $70,000 increase in June over May in the supply purchases. Our library books and materials have increased $230,000 over May, and they're trending between 7 and 8% increase each month. Our other services and charges have also increased over May, about $315,000. These are trending pretty low at 6.6% per month increase. Overall, our operating expenditures through June are coming in at about 45%. On average, this is 7.5% each month. And we have a budget of expecting 8.3% each month. Moving on to capital expenditures, the majority of our expenditures here have been for the Woodland project. We've spent about $8.3 million on the Woodland project through June, and this has been paid for through a combination of the grant and our reserves. In our buildings owned category, we have $23,000 that we spent in June. This was for work done at Three Creeks. That's going to be reimbursed through insurance. So you'll see that offset reimbursement in the future. Any questions on expenditures? Any questions overall on finances that I can answer? Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you so much. Is there a motion to receive and file the June financial statements as presented?
So moved.
Seconded. Any further discussion? I move this to a vote, please.
Marie Coffey.
Aye.
Mary Ann Duncan Cole.
Aye.
Olga Hodges.
Aye.
Penny Love Hensley.
Aye.
Christy Morgan.
Aye.
Mary Williams.
Aye.
Motion to receive and file the June 24 financial statements is approved. We'll move on to the business portion of our meeting, beginning with the Facilities and Finance Committee.
So we have been given a notice from the Port of Woodland that they are in evaluation of implementing a tax increment financing area. This would be our fourth tax increment financing area in our district. And there is a staff report that you certainly can read, but I'll just give you high level. In 2021, a new law took shape in the state of Washington, allowing local governments, cities, counties, ports, etc., not libraries, to form a tax increment finance area, which essentially captures growth taxes from all of the other taxing districts for a period of up to 25 years. So the three TIF areas that are already in place in our district are the city of Woodland. Scratch that. Scratch that. The Port of Vancouver, the Port of Ridgefield, and the City of Ridgefield. By the way, each area can have up to 2 TIF areas, so each city. So that's why you have the Port of Ridgefield and the City of Ridgefield. So this is the fourth area. With the 3 current TIFs that have already worked their way through the approval process, that is an impact of approximately $10.8 million of revenue from the district over the next 25 years. This particular Port of Woodland TIF, we don't know what the impact is. They are still working on those evaluations, and they will notify us when they have those done, so we know. And they will also have public hearings, which they're required to do likely in early 2025. So just a reminder that as a junior taxing district, we don't have the ability to opt in or out. We just have the ability to know what the impact is going to be. And I think to continue to talk with these areas about where we're seeing growth. For example, we're opening a beautiful new library in Woodland. That would have been great if that was part of the TIF, but it wasn't. And so now as we open our new library and our operating cost will go up, at the same time, if this TIF forms to capture growth taxes, we actually will have less revenue coming in to support that new facility. So there's a lot of issues for the library. Obviously, if you're the port or a city, there's great interest in making sure that you are improving infrastructure in your area so that there is growth and development that helps everyone in the end. And I think 25 years down the line, we'll see that spike. But for now, it is definitely a concern that we will continue to watch and monitor and pay close attention to. There is always at the state level each year, the fire districts and the hospital districts and the library districts are all trying to express our concern around this. But for now, our voice has been overlooked.
Ask the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The city of Ridgefield.
Yes.
Been approved. The city of Ridgefield, that's been approved. That's a done deal.
Yes.
So they have the 2.
The city of Ridgefield and the port of Ridgefield, and of course the port of Vancouver. Yes.
Any other questions? Next is policy and nominating committee, starting with purchase card policy, second reading.
Boy, this committee looks busy. Look at all these items. So this is your second reading of the purchase card policy. And as we discussed last month, the changes are really to bring them in compliance with both best practices and RCWs of the state. And so happy to answer any questions, as well as Katrina, who's online, but we are looking for you to adopt the new policy.
Will you remind me, is there a limit on the amount of money that somebody can spend with this purchase card?
With the purchase card, well, we will get to, let's see, let me look at those. We have a limit as a district on our purchase card program. There are differences in the individual card holders' credit limits as a district. And Katrina, you can remind me, I think it's 100,000?
Yeah, as a district, it's 100,000. The way it's structured, the total of the individuals can be greater than the 100,000, but we as a district can never spend more than 100,000. And we don't, typically month by month, we're not even at a third of that as a district.
And then as far as individuals, that is dependent on the position that they're in and what they're doing. So if you are purchasing for the district, your threshold's likely higher than an individual who, like myself, who might have a purchase card. I think my limit's $5,000.
Any other questions or discussion? Is there a motion to adopt the purchase card policy as presented?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, move this to a vote, please.
Marie Coffey.
Aye.
Mary Ann Duncan Cole.
Aye.
Olga Hodges.
Aye.
Penny Love Hensley.
Aye.
Christy Morgan.
Aye.
Mary Williams.
Aye.
Motion to adopt the purchase card policy is approved.
The next item is for your information only, no action needed, but to know that this goes with the purchase card policy. This is for individuals that are issued purchase card. This is the agreement that they need to sign. And so we've updated that to also follow the policy. So it's just for your information.
Were there any questions on that?
The next policy, again, a second reading, is the purchasing and procurement policy. And again, largely due to be in compliance with the RCWs and clarify areas of the policy to help us as staff implement it.
Did anyone have questions about this? Is there a motion to adopt the purchasing and procurement policy as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any further discussion? Move this to a vote, please.
Marie Coffey.
Aye.
Mary Ann Duncan Cole.
Aye.
Olga Hodges.
Aye.
Penny Love Hensley.
Aye.
Christy Morgan.
Aye.
Mary Williams.
Aye.
Motion to adopt purchasing and procurement policy is approved.
The next item, it goes with the purchasing and procurement policy, but it is required by law that the board adopts a resolution to allow the district to use MRSC rosters for small works, consultant, and vendor rosters. And this allows us, MRSC is a group that actually goes out and gathers all of the vendors and qualifies them for these rosters. And if we didn't participate, FVRL would have to do that on our own. And we obviously don't have the capacity to do that. So this is the sample resolution provided in order to make it applicable to our district. And I recommend that you adopt it.
Is there any question or further discussion about this? Is there a motion to adopt resolution 2024-6 MRSC rosters as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, I move this to a vote, please.
Marie Coffey.
Aye.
Mary Ann Duncan Cole.
Aye.
Olga Hodges.
Aye.
Penny Love Hensley.
Aye.
Christy Morgan.
Aye.
Mary Williams.
Aye.
Motion to adopt resolution 2024-6 MRSC rosters is approved.
The next item is a new policy being recommended, Board of Trustees reimbursement policy. We currently have a district travel and sustenance policy with which the board is covered. However, it's not specific in areas of travel for regular meetings, and we believe this helps to specify what the reimbursements would be appropriate for. So the board is aware of those. And this isn't for your vote tonight, is for review. So certainly open to answering any questions, but it basically clarifies mileage, that the mileage is from your home to the library where the meeting is held or place where the meeting is held and back. There's also an ability for lodging expense to be reimbursed if a board member has to travel more than 150 miles round trip to attend, or when inclement weather would prevent a return home after a board meeting. So in this case, obviously we all came to Goldendale tonight, right? And so that for some of you is more than 150 miles round trip. But most of the time it is Olga coming from Goldendale all over the place that would be in that category. So it specifies what that reimbursement would be. This is totally arbitrary, the 150 miles. It is a suggestion and certainly open for the board to come up with this number, any number, or no number as you see fit. Meals also can be reimbursed at the per diem rate for overnight stay or can be reimbursed for actual expenses, and that is covered in more detail under the travel and sustenance policy. As board members, you are not paid. Did you know that? We thank you for volunteering precious hours of your life for us to really run and govern the district. I sincerely appreciate your time and efforts. But because of that, you are able to be provided with reimbursements for expenses of doing the job. So that is what this outlines. Certainly able to answer any questions you might have or consider other options.
I'd only like to say that I appreciate being somebody on the far west end, that our meetings do move around a bit, and so that we have more of an understanding of the needs of all the areas as a board. So I do appreciate that. It probably costs a little bit more, but I think it's worth it for the board to be more productive.
And I certainly appreciate it because it was a while before I learned this was an option and was just doing it the hard way. And so this is going to be great to have something that is just straightforward and makes it a little more comfortable to travel and see you, wonderful people.
Except in January.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a great option too. I think in-person attendance is really valuable. And if this removes barriers for people being able to go in person, I really appreciate this too.
And I need a way, I hitchhiked with one of my fellow board members. So somehow a way for me to easily tell you that at the meeting so that you don't double payment.
Oh, I know.
I am curious why libraries library trustees are the only ones that are not paid. You know why?
I'm not sure if you're the only board members that aren't paid, but you certainly are among those boards that are not paid. It's just based on what the RCW says, and you certainly you have interest in changing that law. You certainly can talk to your legislators about that, because there are boards that are paid, but obviously we're not one of them.
I thought they were all volunteer, so I wasn't mad till I found that out.
Any other questions or discussion?
Okay, the next policy for your first reading is an update to our public records request policy. This is a total rewrite of the current policy, and so you won't see any red line because it's all new. And this is due to making sure, again, that we're in compliance with the RCW, that we spell out the process correctly and have all of the essential information. We are a public institution, as you know, and we do receive many public records requests. And so having a process that is in policy form that people can read. Obviously, the RCW guides our requirements, but I think it's very helpful to our public who are seeking records to be able to read this and in pretty forward order be able to make their requests to us. By the way, our typical public records officer is our communications and marketing director, and that position has been vacant for many months now. And so in the meantime, and from time to time, this will change, we have to appoint temporary public records officers. And I want to thank both Justin and Lynn, who are co-facilitating that process and doing a great job in the meantime. And then the last item, again, for information this month, really goes with the public records request policy. There is a requirement in the state that you would adopt a resolution if we want to declare public disclosure indexing as unduly burdensome. And this means the expectation is that we would keep an index of every record created. So you understand that that is not possible in this day and age. So as you know, all of our electronic systems, obviously we're able to search and get at all of the records that are created. But to have one index that spells out every single thing that's created is almost virtually impossible in this day and age. And so this is the required language to basically exempt us from that. And that is all for policies.
I think that was enough.
That's a lot.
Yes.
Any questions or discussion while we're on this part?
I'm appreciating the rest of this month to go through the new ones. Thank you.
All right, we will move on to board comments. Are there any board comments? Go ahead, Penny.
I wish to announce that I am going to be stepping down. It'll be effective tomorrow. And I want to thank Jennifer for all the hard work she's done in this short amount of time that she's been here. My fellow board members, I'm going to miss you. And to the staff who helps and supports us, thank you.
We will miss you.
Penny, this is my first in-person meeting that I've been at since I've had my baby. I've been away for months, and I'm sad to hear that this is also your last one. But I really want to thank you for the generosity, the hospitality, just like the warmth and the wisdom that you offered to me when I first joined the board. I was, coming into something fully unknown to me, and you just made it so, you just made it very pleasant. And you are one of the classiest ladies I've ever met. I've watched you handle very difficult, intense situations with charm that was just remarkable. And I know we'll be in touch, and I'm so grateful to have met you. And I am just hoping that you have, restful and easy times ahead. And we'll hopefully see you again. Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you for serving with us. One thing that I admire about you is your calm, peacemaking attitude. No matter the situation, it's been appreciated, and you're going to be missed.
I'm not a board member.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Penny, I really have appreciated working with you on the board. You bring so much wisdom to the work. As a librarian yourself, you understand the work in ways that others might not always. And I have appreciated that and all that you give, your constant support. She has a sense of humor too, people. So I appreciate that always. And we will miss you very much. You've been an excellent board member, and you have big shoes to fill.
Has that process started now? Or yeah.
Basically with the notice of her resignation. But as Christy said at the beginning of the meeting, with Vikram's resignation, that open call for people with the city starts at the end of August and goes for 30 days. We don't expect to have a new board member in that seat until November. So just based on that, likely November, December before this seat would be filled as well. So the 5 of you that are left standing right now, including you, Mary, online, we really are going to be depending on you to be at the meetings so that we can continue to get business done as we move forward this year.
Stay healthy. Don't have a wreck kind of
Speaking of meetings, our next regular meeting will be Saturday, September 21st, 2024 at 4 p.m. at the Battleground Community Library and also hybrid on Zoom.
And it's a Saturday. Yep. Wow.
That's because it follows our annual board retreat during the day. And so that you maximize your time, you only have one meeting date instead of two. So you'll have the retreat and then the regular board meeting after. Happy Saturday in Battleground.
Yeah, maybe we should make it paid after all, huh?
Yeah.
I wanted to give one more comment and
go
say
ahead.
thank you to Goldendale Library for hosting us, and for everybody that came out to comment and express what they wanted to express. I'm grateful to see that the homeschool community here is getting more involved and doing things on site, and that there's programs going on and that we're just kind of growing and growing. And yeah, thank you. Well done. Let's keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for accommodating our change. We couldn't come a few months ago, and so really appreciate you being able to get us in another time. It's important that we get out here as well. All right, is there a motion to adjourn the August 19th, 2024 meeting? So moved. Any objections? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
I was ready.
Just in case.
Jennifer, did we need to follow this process?